3-inch spacer lift, action van suspension, and Weldtech. So here they are, all next to each other. Here's my first van build on an action van suspension lift kit, and this video right here, Weldtech stopped by in the comment section. Here's Weldtech's comment to that video. Feel free to pause it so you can read it. So Weldtech feels like it's not fair for me to compare Action Van Suspension's base 5-inch lift kit to their 5-inch lift kit, and they feel a better comparison is Action Van's base kit versus their 3-inch lift. I'll go ahead and click on it, show you guys this is not doctored. There you go, took me straight to Weldtech Designs. Here's Action Van's pricing. $20.89 for their base 5-inch lift and $28.95 for their ultimate kit. Now if you want to compare 3-inch lift kit versus 3-inch lift kit, you could get an RTZ 3-inch lift kit for $289. Now to be fair, the Weldtech kit is going to be higher quality and better riding than this 3-inch RTZ lift, but if you just want the inches, there you go, $289 for a 3-inch RTZ lift. Here's Weldtech's 3-inch lift, $2,300, so a little more expensive than Action Van's 5-inch lift. And here's their 5-inch lift, $31.94, and there's the install cost right there, $16.90. For around the same price, do you want a 3-inch or a 5-inch lift kit? I'll go ahead and address the elephant in the room when a topic like this is brought up. All she needs is 3 inches. I know you want 5 inches. This is my current van build and my second van build. It's on a 5-inch Weldtech lift kit. My first van build was on an Action Van Suspension 5-inch lift kit. And if you're a regular on my channel, you know that I recommend Action Van Suspension. Weldtech, parts only, $3,200 for their 5-inch lift kit. Action Van Suspension, parts only, $20.89 for their 5-inch lift kit. If you want to get your lift kit installed at Action Van Suspension, full tilt off-road, it's going to cost $3,500. If you want Weldtech to install your kit, $5,200. Big price difference. Action Van Suspension 5-inch lift kit. I think his van's taller than mine. I'm on a Weldtech lift. Let's go ahead and take a look at Slick Rick's van. My van's on a Weldtech lift. Slick Rick is on an Action Van. His van's taller than mine. Look at the mirror. Action Van Suspension advertises their lift kit as a 4.5 to 6-inch lift. Weldtech advertises theirs as a 5-inch lift. So Action Van Suspension goes safe with their prediction. But there it is, Slick Rick's van. Stock next to an Action Van. Like, look at that mirror. Look at that height difference. And then the Weldtech next to the Action Van. Two lifted vans, one on a Weldtech lift and one on an Action Van lift. Both have the same size tires. same size tires. 285, 75, 16. So yeah, if you're thinking about a lift kit, here's both companies who advertise the same amount of lift. Where's mine at? There you go. 285, 75, 16. There's Larry's van. You know what's cool about Larry? He has a modest van build. No sick add-ons on it. He could have his company build him a 12-inch lifted van on a 4x4 conversion. But this guy has no sick add-ons, and he's running his company's kit. He's not running like a Timberland or a U-joint or anything. He's running his company's kit, and that's respect. That's belief in your product. He just has a single light bar in the little slot here. That's it. That's Larry's van. Action Van Suspension uses pivot relocation brackets. People like to refer to them as drop-down brackets. Here's Weltec's 4x4 lift for express vans. And if you look right here, drop-down brackets. This guy just parked next to me, probably checking out my van. I don't blame him. So Weltec, they're great at hyping up their product. They got a great presentation on Instagram and YouTube, and they say that bent I-beams are used in trophy trucks just like their Ford Econoline lift kit. But here's the thing, how many people are jumping their vans? Most people putting a lift kit on their vans just want it to look cool in a parking lot, like my van does right now. And when people do take these vans off-road, they just want to get to a remote camp spot, some basic off-road trails where clearance would be nice. Oh, he ripped up that.
Yeah, I know.
Here we go, watch this. V10. Easy money.
Oh my gosh.
There's my microwave.
I know. Did you break something with that?
Nah, I bounce it around all the time. Most of my subscribers have a van build like this. Nothing spectacular. Weltec likes to feature the $50,000 and above vans. This van's under 20 grand. And this build would have ended up being cheaper if I went with Action Van Suspension. I try to do everything right with this van. Since this is my second van build, I learned from my mistakes of my first van build. I always intended on getting a rear locker, aux locker right there, and a re-gear, 410 re-gear with 285 tires. 285 just clears the sliding door. Yeah, my channel isn't about, you know, I don't like Weltec. One of my best friends that I've made on YouTube has a Weltec lift kit, Mark. Hey Mark, I have your fender flares for you when I see you again. Since I replaced my front fenders with wide body fenders, I took off the fender flares off this van, off the front of course, because I replaced it, and the back. So I got some fender flares for my buddy, free of charge. I'm saving these for you, Mark. I'll give them to you at the November Lifted Van Meet. I'll put a video reviewing these at the end screen. Cheap alternative to Bushwhacker fender flares. Bushwhackers are $600. I just want to see my friends lifted. That's why I recommend Action Van. $3,500 versus $5,200. That $1,700 might determine if someone gets a lift kit or not. If I went with Action Van instead of Weltec, I could have looked like this 6 months sooner versus looking like that. Sounds appealing, doesn't it? That $1,700 price gap was a big deal to me. I had to save up a year of my overtime money to afford my WellTech lift kit. If I had went with Action Van, I would have been lifted a lot sooner. For some people, a $1,700 price gap might determine if they get lifted or not, and I know you want the 5-inch lift kit. If you can afford the WellTech lift kit and you're a fan of WellTech, fan of their videos, they've been providing hours of entertainment to you guys for years, it's a great way to say thank you to them by buying their lift kit. If you can't afford WellTech, but you can afford an Action Van, go with Action Van. You're not going to be disappointed. Their base kit is a straight up bargain compared to WellTech's 5-inch lift kit. The $1,700 you save going with Action Van instead of WellTech, you could get a rear locker a lot sooner. Pull up here and then locked. Pull up, open diff. WellTech, Action Van, WellTech.